What happens to the veteran when a VA disability consulting company commits fraud? This one absolutely sucks. And the reason I'm going to bring this to your attention is because after looking at all the indicators, this is fixing itself to be more probable than not, which really sucks as the days go on. I definitely want to hear your opinion on this as it is a bit controversial. I'm going to give my opinion at the end, and I'd like to see how that shapes up with yours, okay? Now, the three indicators that stand out above all the others, and I'll tell you those really quick, and then answer the question of what happens to the veteran, all right? The three indicators are number one, the VA OIG report above all from January of this year, 2024, that shows very clear indications of fraud on DBQs, implying what I'm going to call a Nexus letter mill at fault when veterans are referred to that Nexus letter mill from a company who is closely tied to that Nexus letter mill. Now, number two, the VFW legislative director spoke very briefly about the VA's actions in using AI and machine learning to detect that boilerplate DBQ and medical opinion for certain disabilities. And what do you know? Those likely came from the same few Nexus letter mills that, what do you know, are linked to various claims consulting companies. And lastly, number three was the video I did just the other day about the allegations about Veterans Guardian, ex-employees spilling the beans on almost always veterans claiming depression, secondary to chronic pain, and always having a 50% plus rating for that disability. Depression secondary to chronic pain absolutely makes sense. It's a solid secondary, but every single veteran and every single one of them have a 50% plus rating starts to raise some questions at a minimum. So those are your three indicators as to why I really wanted to make this, because I know there are millions of veterans who are thinking about this right now. With those three indicators, which by the way is not evidence, okay? I'm using the word indicator for a specific reason, as I'm just a dude in his basement looking at a few factors and thinking critically about what I'm looking at. Let's review what happens to the veteran when a claims company is on the hook for fraud, and it's actually pretty simple and it's really bad. The veteran is at fault. 1,000%, a million percent, okay? The veteran will be convicted for multiple counts, just like we see in all the other OIG reports of convictions of veterans who scammed the VA for disability. The same exact thing will happen, except to that veteran that just did what they were told to do by the company, right? Company, fill in the blank there. Now, the company will certainly deal with court stuff and pay interest and all kinds of penalties, but keep in mind, a veteran's claim has zero ties to any consulting company out there. Zero. Not a single one. So yes, in that situation, the veteran will be held accountable. And that absolutely sucks. If that were to happen, which, just to be honest with you, I don't think it's going to happen. But if it were to happen, there would be a massive overhaul of the VA benefit process of VBA from top down, okay? Overhaul, as these companies are extremely successful and they have helped probably upwards of 1 million veterans, if not more. I also fear, this is my biggest fear, that those veterans with legitimate mental health disabilities that are also legitimately connected and service connected, so it's due to service, will have their claims scraped and clawed at and thrown into the pile of everyone else over here who has indications of fraud just because they found similarities. Maybe they went to the same company. Maybe they did have that boilerplate template there. However, this veteran actually has that condition, whereas the fraudulent veterans do not. I think the VA, from an AI machine learning standpoint, is not going to be able to tell the difference. Now, this is my personal opinion here. These are my thoughts. But that's my biggest fear. Okay. All around, this won't be good. I don't think it'll be good at all. And I'm kind of on the fence because on one hand, fraud is bad. I think we can all agree on that. But on the other hand, the VA has been scamming veterans and just pushing veterans down since its inception. And they've gotten better, but that does not excuse everything that's currently happening with the VA, not in the veterans' favor. Okay, HLR shouldn't exist. The Board of Veteran Appeals should not exist. Just the fact that those exist tell me the VA is not doing what they're supposed to be doing. VA accredited attorneys should not be making as much money as they make, which tells me the VA is not doing what they are supposed to be doing. Okay, so that is objective. The VA, they just suck. I mean, there's really no other way to put it. They're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. So it's like, fraud's bad. I think we can agree on that. But the VA also sucks. And now that creates this culture, it creates this system where it's like, man, I can't get my claims approved. I can't get this increase approved. I'm going to go to this company who has a very, very high success rate, according to the allegations, a 99% success rate for mental health secondary to chronic pain, with at least a 50% disability rating, which is absolutely insane. Hello, obviously that's going to raise some eyebrows and people are going to start investigating into that, which is not good, right? But the veteran that signs with that company, is it their fault? Is it their fault that the veteran picked up the phone, called this company, and heck, let's just give the veteran the benefit of that doubt here. Maybe they were reluctant to go down the mental health route because they didn't feel like they had mental health. But then the person on the phone gave a solid sales pitch and was like, hey, brother, the mental health crisis in America today, it's very common for veterans to hide their symptoms, right? How about you let us send you to our doctor and have a medical professional talk about what your state of your mental health looks like, and given that sales pitch, maybe it influences the veteran. It convinces the veteran to at least give it a shot. And oh, by the way, this will get you 100% P&T. All the benefits are on the table. The veteran is enticed to go with this company. And then bam, assuming the indicators become evidence, okay, which would be really bad. All of a sudden, that veteran, who, in my opinion, is not at fault, okay? I don't think the VA or the court system is going to see it that way, but in my opinion, the veteran's not at fault. Now they are on the front lines taking the brute force of the justice system, right? And so that's what's going to happen. If this happens, and I'm just looking at indicators here, if that happens, veterans will be on the hook. The company itself will be on the hook, but on a totally different scale. The veteran themselves will also be on the hook. Not good.